how's it going? I'm your host, Jake Letizia, and this is the podcast where I look into a camera and I talk to myself. How's it going? How you doing? I just said that a little differently than I usually do. I usually say, hello, welcome to another episode of Talking to Myself. I'm your host, Jake Letizia, and this is the podcast where I talk to myself. But I said it differently this time because I forgot that first part. But now I'm correcting it because I'm a fucking dumb fuck who needs to correct things in the moment instead of just letting it go and saying, hey, you said it incorrectly. They probably don't even know. It doesn't matter. Anyway, I corrected my fucking first sentence of the podcast. Already off to a stupid start. First sentence in, have to correct it already. I should not be talking for an hour alone on a podcast. How you doing, dude? None of what I just said matters. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. I've had a weird fucking week. I've had a weird, strange, maybe good, maybe bad. We'll see how it turns out kind of a week. Things in my life currently might be taking a change for the better. I guess it would depend on people's perceptions. I don't know. I'll find out this week, I guess. At the end of this week, I'll either be in a position where I'm making where I'm financially a little more comfortable, or I'll be in the same spot I am now. And either way will be fucking fine. You know? Everything I'm saying is very cryptic. I, for a long time, was struggling, dude. No money. Nothing, dude. Scraps. So little money I had to move back home. And then finally, after a long time of thinking about maybe killing myself, a long time of bad days, followed by other bad days, followed by miserable days. After that, got a job, and now I'm in a position where I'm able to make money to fucking live, eat. I'm okay. I'm in a position where now, if another job is offering me a position, I can feel comfortable being like, well, I don't really need that. But that's a weird position to be in when you were in a spot for a while where there was nothing for you at all. It feels like if the current thing I may or may not get happens, it just will feel like life has a cruel sense of humor, which it does. It does. But it would be such it would be such brutal, deliberate. I shouldn't have a podcast, man. It would be such brutal, clear, and deliberate evidence of how cruel of a sense of humor life has if I were to get this position that I may or may not get. Because I'll be going from struggling to being very fine, pretty good, you know? In not a long period of time, in an instant. Go from legitimately being like, I should just check out of existence to like, oh, I'm feeling good. I'll buy your drinks. Do you know what I'm saying? That's a weird fucking world we live in if that is the case, if that can happen. There's something flawed with the job market if that is a possibility. Some people might say that's why America's great, or that's why, things are great. You can go from scraping by to making a healthy amount of money in a year, in 2 years. But see, the thing is, I don't feel like I like the struggle I went through, or like the depressive thoughts I had, doesn't feel like, I don't feel like, yeah, man, I made my way back up there. No, I feel like the way this has unfolded, I feel like I applied to a job years ago that for some reason now in this moment is like, oh, actually, we would like to have you. And that is a weird fucking thing. it feels coincidental and awful. It doesn't feel like, hell yeah, man, hard work pays off. It feels like, no, the way we get jobs in this current day and age is flawed and fucked up, and you never know if you're qualified for anything because no one is communicative enough to let you know. And it's not even their fault. It's just the way things are structured. There's jobs. You put a job on a job site, 8 million people apply to it, and then what? They're not going to sift through 8 million people. No, there's then an algorithm that sifts through 8 million fucking resumes. And yours might be a good resume, but it doesn't have the correct fucking keywords to go to the next step of the algorithm. And so you don't get put in the pile of possible potential candidates just because you fucking forgot to put portfolio in the right fucking part of your resume. Do you know what I'm saying? You forgot to put the word Adobe Premiere on your resume or whatever the fuck. You forgot to write public speaking skills in the right spot on it. So it was like, oh, public speaking is not written in here? Then you're fucked. Nothing I'm saying is I'm not being... I feel like I'm not explaining what it is coherently enough right now. But it's... And the way that this permeates everywhere, man. The not knowing. There's a lot of not knowing in our current... There's a lot of not knowing that is just a part of all of the systems of every aspect of our lives right now. I mean, in dating too. And it's acceptable not knowing. And it's at the point where you're like, well, yeah, I mean, that's how it works, you know? And that's kind of fucked up. And it makes you go like, should this be reformed? Should we change this in some way? Or is this just is what it is? With the job market in particular, it's you have to have a LinkedIn profile, but then you don't. You know, you have to have a fucking an immaculate resume, but then you don't. If you have a good reference, your resume could be like all right. Or if you've worked with somebody before, they see your work experience, so it doesn't really matter. But then you could try and be getting a job where you don't have a proper reference, or you don't have somebody who can get your foot in the door. So then it's all about your resume. Like there are 9,000 different ways to get a job right now. And most of them seem pretty ineffective. To the point where you could be in my position right now, where you were searching for a long time, and then all of a sudden a job you already applied for a while ago suddenly goes, hey, we actually did think you were qualified. And you're like, that's weird, because for 3 years I felt like I was not at all, because I didn't even get a response from you. You know? I didn't even get a fucking, what's up, dude? I didn't even get a, like, we saw your resume, dude. Nothing. Just silence. Hey, someone referred you. We'd love to see your resume. Okay, nothing. Years later. Hey, this person referred you. Almost the same email, as if it wasn't sent the first time. And it just makes you go, oh, wow, everything I've ever thought about the job search is correct. Is that it's convoluted enough where someone who is qualified cannot be responded to, and then years later get hit up like, no, we thought you were qualified. You were on a short list of people. You just didn't know that short list. I don't know. Maybe we should... I just feel like Indeed is not the way. You know what I'm saying? Indeed, LinkedIn, they're not the way, dude. I feel like the way school has been set up is for a time before the internet. The way school is structured, our institutions of higher learning, the way they're structured is different than now with the internet and how people get jobs. That used to be a system that worked, putting you in positions where you can have a career that makes sense. But now it doesn't. Now you go to high school, you fucking aren't sure what you're studying, you aren't sure what you want to do, or maybe you're very sure about it. Doesn't matter which you are, but then you go to college, you study something either very hard or not very hard, and then you get out of college, and then every fucking place that exists goes, yes, so what? Everyone has a college degree. We don't give a fuck. And then you're an engineer working at Starbucks. And then every job you apply to getting out of college goes, you need 5 years of experience. You're like, what's the does my college career count as 5 years of experience? I've studied this for 5 years. No, you need 5-year real world experience. Okay, so then what should I do? Do some like freelance gigs of engineering and kind of like fucking make up a resume until you trick us enough to for us to think that you know what you're doing. That's what the job market feels like. It feels like people are like, we don't want to hire you unless you have experience. And you're like, well, how am I supposed to get experience if you don't hire me? And they're like, well, just lie. Like, we have a system that encourages people to fake it till they make it constantly. And then when things fall apart and people don't actually know what they're doing, and you see people at higher levels of when you see people who are supposed to be experts at something not know what the fuck they're doing, suddenly everyone in society is like, how the fuck did that guy get here? Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know, dude. Maybe because instead of giving him an entry-level job in a field that he studied, you were like, hey, dude, you studied hard for this, but there are no entry-level positions. Well, there are, but you need 3 years of experience that you can't get unless you have an entry-level job. So go work at Starbucks, and once you make enough cappuccinos for you to figure out a good lie to us about how you know what you're doing, then come and work for us. I don't know. Who knows if what I'm saying even makes sense? All I'm saying is I think things need to change. I think there needs to be more effort put into revamping the job market so that people don't feel like they're constantly useless and worthless. I think looking for a job is a person constantly feeling like they are worthless and that they don't belong in society. That is a real feeling I had constantly looking for jobs. Was, like, what is the point? I need a job to live, and I can't find one. And I'm trying as hard as I can. And then people go, well, you could fucking apply anywhere. Apply to Starbucks. And then you do, dude. What you start doing is you start applying to Starbucks. You start applying to fucking Dunkin' Donuts. You start applying to GameStop. You start applying to jobs, retail jobs, and then you can't get a retail job. Why? Because you don't have any retail experience. So then you just can't get a job. And then somebody's like, I got this fucking job real easy. And you're like, I applied to that 5 times. I didn't get it. And then people look at you and they're like, well, you're a fucking lazy piece of shit. And you're like, what the fuck am I supposed to do, man? I'm applying for like 9 hours a day to these jobs and I just can't get them. I don't know. And then you find out that like, oh, you're not the only one feeling that way. It's literally every single fucking person looking for a job. The majority of them feel this way. They feel completely lost and like there's no correct avenue to find a job. And if that's the case, there's something flawed about the system. There's something fucked about how it's going. I feel like there should be a clear path that you can see going down that makes sense. I don't know. I guess it's hard. There's a lot of people who exist in the world and a lot of fucking jobs. But it just seems like the current system is not correct. Anyway, so yeah, we'll see what happens with this opportunity I'm talking about. If I get it, if I don't, whatever the fuck. But it's funny. Life has a very cruel sense of humor. And, I mean, that's why people have dark senses of humor to match it. You have a dark sense of humor. A person has a dark sense of humor to match how cruel of a sense of humor just fucking life in general has. You know? Terrible things will happen and very good things will happen in a way that is funny. And you have to find a way to laugh at that, or else what the fuck are you gonna do? Kill yourself? Can't do that. I don't know, man. Anyway, I don't want to come in front of a stranger, you know? Hard shift out of 20 minutes of nonsense job talk, whatever the fuck. Nonsense job talk. Yeah. I don't want to come in front of a stranger, man. I realized that recently. I went on a date with somebody. It was a fine enough date. Yeah, it was a fine enough date. They they came over. We had sex, and then I figured it out because two most recent people I had intimacy with, I finagled with. The first person, we did things, having a good time, and then we got to a point where she was like, "Are you gonna come?" Like she was trying to get me to. She's like, "Are you gonna come?" And I was like, "Probably not." And then she laughed and I laughed, and then we chilled and it was a good time. And then I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." I didn't in front of her, and then I started to think like, when I have sex with people for the first time, do I come? And then I had sex with somebody else, and we had sex for a long time. Then we stopped. Then she woke me up to fuck again. Then we stopped. Then she was like, "Oh, I want," and then she just kept waking me up to fuck. Like we had sex very late because we came back late. Then we fell asleep. Then at like 6 a.m, she woke me up and was trying to have sex with me. And then and then we fucked for a little bit. Then I went to sleep again. Then at 9, she fucking woke me up again. I was basically being fucking woken up and forced to fuck. Which is a weird thing to say because sex is great. But at the same time, we had sex. It's 6 a.m. I want to sleep. The only thing greater than sex is sleep when you need it badly, you know? Anyway, and this person would just kept initiating until I finally was like, "Fuck it, I'll come." And I did. And I felt annoyed. I felt bad. I was like, I didn't want to, like, I don't know you, dude. Like, why'd you have to keep fucking me until that happened? Like, why couldn't we just have had sex like twice and that's it? And I didn't this time, but maybe the next time I see you, you know? Maybe when I fucking know your middle name, maybe then I can shoot my disgusting gook out, dude. Right? I don't want to shoot my slime out in front of somebody whose last name I do not know. And that's what it is, dude. It's slime, bro. It's slime. Cum is slime. 100%. You ever see the fucking Nickelodeon Slime Time Live? That green slime? Cum has the same exact consistency. It's just green on Nickelodeon, dude. What's that guy's name? Dan Snyder? That fucking pedophile? That dude who loves feet and runs Nickelodeon? Dude, he wanted that slime to be white, and they were like, "Dude, it looks like cum. What are you talking about?" He's like, "Oh, I mean green. It'll be green. It's fine. It's green." And then everyone's like, "Why is that green slime have the consistency of cum?" And he's like, "No reason, dude. No fucking reason, dude. No reason, but can we do another foot shot in this episode of iCarly? Why are we doing so many feet shots in this show? I don't know, dude. Can she mush spaghetti with her feet? Why is she mushing spaghetti with her feet? That's not even like funny." He's like, "Nah, it's hilarious, dude. Kids will love it." And you're like, "I don't think kids will love that. And you seem real riled up, and it's making me uncomfortable." Whatever, dude. Let's make the slime white. No, let's not do that. Why would we make the slime white? I don't know, dude. Anyway, what's up? Dan Snyder, ultimate pedophile piece of shit. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't like doing it. I had a better time with that first person where I did not do that. And I like to come, dude. Don't get me wrong. I love to come, dude. It's fun to come. Who doesn't like coming? Everybody does. But when appropriate, you know? Around somebody whose company I know and I enjoy. You know what I'm saying? I just met you. That's a very personal thing to do in front of a person I just matched with on Tinder, you know? Anyway, dating, man. That's another weird uncommunicative thing. If that's even a word, uncommunicative. That's another fucking fucked up system that we have now. Online dating, swiping for people. It's fucked. Talked about it many times. I don't know. People are weird though. It's weird because now we're in a world where with dating, ghosting is an interesting thing. I've talked about it many times on this podcast, but it's a weird thing because everybody does it, but people get mad when it happens to them, and I don't get that. I've been ghosted. When it happens to me, I go, yep. That's what happens sometimes. I've done it to people. And that's what happens sometimes. For me, it depends on how well you know each other, how close you are with that person for the ghosting to make sense. You know what I'm saying? And it's never an intentional thing. That's the thing too, is that people think that it's an intentional thing to ghost somebody. It isn't. It's the most passive. There's a reason why it's called ghosting, because it's like it barely exists. It's not even real. It's not even a thing that you believe in, you know? Some people don't even believe in the fucking thing. That's why it's called ghosting, because you don't even know you're doing it half the time. A lot of times you go on a date with somebody, it was not what you wanted. It was you realize over the course of that date, I did not enjoy myself for these reasons. I'm not compatible with this person I won't be compatible with this person over a long period of time for these reasons, and then you just don't want to see them again. Naturally, you don't want to see them again because that's how dating works. You see somebody, you go on a date with them, things happen that are good and bad, and sometimes the bad outweighs the good, and then when they text you again, hey, how's it going? Sometimes you just go, I don't know how to respond to this right now, and then you just forget. Right? And that's ghost, and that's what I think that's what ghosting usually is somebody going, I don't know how to respond to this right now because I don't want to see this person again. Maybe I'll text them tomorrow, and then you forget that you were ever texted. And it's weird because now it creates a scenario where there are men and women who, for whatever reason, they think they are owed an explanation for why you didn't respond to their text. And then they'll come to you and be like, oh, I guess you're ghosting me. Want to tell me why? And it's such a weird thing because you're like, because if you know someone's ghosting you, then you know why they are. They don't like you. Okay? I went on a date with somebody. It was a wonderful date. We went to a couple bars. We made out. She made me laugh. I made her laugh. On the date, we had similar interests. She was talking about she was planning another date to go on the date. We went to where she lives. We fucked on her roof, outside on her roof. We were making out in the elevator on the way down. I said, I would love to see you again. She goes, me too. We both said, we'll text each other. Next day, I texted her. Did not respond. Right? No response. Also, the nerve of people, because people will text you once, and then you won't respond to that text, and they're like, oh, guess you're ghosting me. And you're like, you only texted me once, bro. Some of my best friends in the world who I love will text me once, and I will forget they texted me. And then guess what they do? They text me again. And then I'm like, oh shit, I forgot about your text. You know what I'm saying? People who I've known for years who I love, dude. So if you text somebody once and they never respond, I don't even know if you can call it a ghosting. I think you at least need to text them twice. At least twice. This person, I texted him, didn't respond. Couple days later, I was like, whatever, I'll double text. I double texted. No response. I'm like, all right, I'm ghosted. And then I sent a Bitmoji or something because it was funny in context with the other two texts. And that was the last thing I sent. And that was it. And it wasn't angry. It wasn't like, oh, I guess you're fucking, oh, why are you doing this? It was like, it was this. It was a text for another date. Then the follow-up was like, hey, man, we should def do that date or something. And then the third one was a funny-faced Bitmoji. That's it. It's like when you're fucking it's like when people are asking for money on the street. It's like why would you ever yell at someone and then ask them for money? If you are trying to go on another date with somebody, you shouldn't be like, hey, fuckface, you didn't text me back. You should be like, hey, yo, what's up? What's going on here? Right? Anyway, that was the end of the first part. I'll see you guys in the second part. What's up? I'm back. Yeah, I don't know, man. I guess I just don't understand what people think they're entitled to. Like, they think they're entitled to an explanation from a stranger. But also, it's like, when people do that, when people say... The scenario I'm talking about is I went on a date with somebody... It seemed to go... I mean, there were bad things about the date. There were legit bad things about the date. There just were. I don't know. First of all, I went on a date with somebody, and they never tried to pay for anything. And that's bad. That's a red flag, as they say. For me. I think any man. I think most men... I mean, there are men who... Well, that's the thing, too, is that some men might be fine with that. They might be like, oh, I want to treat this woman. I want to fucking spend all of my money on her. But I don't make, at least currently in this moment, I don't make a lot of money, right? So I would appreciate it if somebody I'm on a date with, even if I made a shit ton of money, no one is worth more than $70 fucking dollars, okay? On a first date, that's a fucking, that I 100% believe that. Nobody is worth more than $70. You may pay more than that, but if you pay more than that, it's because you might really fucking like this person. Or it might just be because the other person's not helping you out at all. And when I say $70, I mean a night, I really mean $140. A date that in total is $140. That's you paying $70 and then the other person liking you enough to pay $70. You both pay the same amount. You're like, damn, we spent a good amount on each other, but that's because we both are fucking really into each other. Okay? If you're on a date and you spent $300 and the other person spent nothing, that was a bad date already. That was a bad time. I went on a date with and here's the thing. I would spend that much money on somebody. Like, no problem. But like, at least, like this date that I went on, if she at all, at any moment, was like, oh, I could pay too, or just like reached for her. She never even reached for her fucking credit card at any point. We went to a place, right? First of all, bad, already bad. We went to cocktail bars. Fuck cocktail bars, dude. I don't know if I've said this on the podcast before. I might have. But I ask people, hey, would you rather go to a cocktail bar and a dive bar? And 100% of the time, the people who say dive bars are more fun people. 100% of the time. 1,000% of the time. People who say cocktail bars, always a bummer of a time. And you would think I would learn from that. You would think that then, knowing that anytime someone says cocktail bars, just don't go. But most people say cocktail bars. That's the problem. And I would like to go on a date. You know what I'm saying? Most people say cocktail bars, which is unfortunate. But it makes sense. Because I hate most people. I'm exaggerating, of course. I mean, some cocktail bars are good. Sometimes people say I like cocktail bars over dive bars, and they are a fun person still. Okay, I'm of course being hyperbolic, but at the same time, no person who likes cocktail bars over dive bars is fun. That's a fact. So we went to cocktail bars, and you know, when you're going to a cocktail bar, you already know you're going to spend way too much money on something that's called like jalapeno in your eyes. You know what I'm saying? I think I literally ordered a drink that was called like smoke in your eyes. You can't see, fucko. Cocktails always have names that you think that the bartender's going to, like, it's a trick. You think you're going to say it to the bartender and they're going to be like, what are you saying? Can I get a mango forest in the middle of a summer? And they're like, and you're waiting for them. You're reading it off the menu going, there's no way that's actually the name of it. She's going to call me a fuckface or laugh in my face. This is all an elaborate punked by Ashton Kutcher. He's going to come out in a second and be like, yeah, dude, you thought Mango Forest in the middle of summer was an actual drink? We fucking got you, Zach Braff. But then you say it and they're like, sure, yeah, I'll get that. And you're like, damn, dude, why is the drink more than 2 words? You know what I'm saying? No drink should have a name longer than 2 words. Smoke in your eyes. They're going to water. What? Just call it smoke. Call it a smoky jalapeno. Whatever the fuck. Doesn't matter. Keep it simple, dude. What happened to KISS? Keep it simple, stupid. Okay? Assume your customers are dumb fucks. And they are. You know why? Because this dude was wearing a backwards hat at this cocktail bar. I think I said this last week. What the fuck, dude? You guys are going to charge me $70 for 2 cocktails, and this dude's wearing a backwards hat? What are we doing, dude? Mixed messages. Anyway, the first place, I get the check, and to be fair, I went up to the bar and started a tab. So what's she really going to do for the first place? There's not much she can do. Right? I mean, she can be like, hey, do you want me to Venmo you? Or she could say something. She didn't, but that's fine. Because also, when I'm on a date, I think that if, I will always try and pay for whatever the first thing you do is. But then what usually happens is you go to another bar, and then the ideal scenario is that at the second bar, she either goes, I'm going to open a tab, or she's like, oh, the drink's on me, or whatever the fuck. I went on a date and I went to the movies. I bought the ticket. We got there. I was like, do you want snacks? She was like, I'll have a water. I bought her water. And then I was like, you can have as much popcorn as you want, by the way. We shared a popcorn. Then we left. She was like, oh, I want to get a donut. We ended up going to a bodega. We got ice cream. And she was like, oh, I got you on the ice cream. Again, not a lot of money. She probably spent $4, but still. It's not about the amount of money. It's about the gesture of like, I'll pay for something, dude. It's about the gesture of like, hey, man, I got you. I don't know you that well, but I got you still. It's forming a rapport that's going to extend you into a larger relationship, maybe. Anyway, so we go to the next place and we get dinner and drinks, and I get the bill back, and she's sitting right next to me. And I look at the bill, it's like $150 before tip. And I take my card out pretty slow, and she doesn't even bat a fucking eye. She doesn't bat an eye, dude. She just sits there smiling. And I put I painfully put my fucking card in the little checkbook. I check off 20% and I give it to the guy and I go, okay, dude. And he takes it out of my hand forcefully. And I'm sitting there and she literally, when the check leaves, she looks at me and goes, I'm having a really great time tonight. And I was like, I bet you are, dude. I didn't say that out loud, but in my soul, I was like, I bet you fucking are, dude. I bet you're having a wonderful time, dude. We just had a shit ton of cocktails for too much money. We had a couple of mediocre cocktails for way too much money, and you didn't pay a single thing. And then we just had dinner, which was tasty, but the portions were tiny as fuck. I'm still hungry, and then we also got a couple of drinks on top of that. And it was a big bill, and you didn't even bat an eye. I'm sure you're having a great time, dude. Your wallet is light. Or heavy. Your wallet is heavy. Whatever means more money in it. You didn't lose a single drop of money. I'm sure you're having a wonderful fucking time. I would be too if you were paying for everything. So already there, I was like, this is bad. Okay? But then we continue the date, but it's fun. It's fun. It's a fun time. So that's fine. And then we go back, and this is the person who like would not stop with the da-da-da-da-da, forcing me to do, like, keep going, keep having sex. And I'm like, hey, man, I want to sleep, dude. And then after I did what I did in front of a stranger that I don't want to do, we cleaned things off, and then we were just chilling in bed, and then she was trying to do more things. She was trying to keep going. And then I said to her, I was like, hey, let's not, like, she was like going to do things to me, and I was like, hey, let's not, we just stopped. And she goes, no, I'm not going to do anything. And then she like pretended like she wasn't, and then she started doing things to me again, which I'm not going to lie, it's kind of a molesting. Right? I mean, it's kind of when you tell somebody, hey, I'm good, and then they're like, they just keep going. I don't know. It wasn't like, it wasn't a bad, I'm taking it further than it was. It just was annoying and uncomfortable. That's what it was. And then I was like, hey, you're hurting me. Because she was like leaning on me in a weird way that it was hurting me. And I was like, can you get off me? You're hurting me. And she's like, oh, okay, sorry. And then it was just weird and awkward. And then it just was weird. And I was uncomfortable and it was strange. And then also just in my head, I'm like, financially, I can never see this person again. It's financially irresponsible. I'm going to lose my home if I continue to see this person. So we don't see each other. And then she texts me, I think 2 days later or something, or a day after that morning. She texts me something, and I just don't respond to it. I just didn't respond to it. Because I looked at it and I was like, I felt weird at the end of that date. I don't really want to see that person. So I just didn't respond to it. And then 3 weeks later, I think it was 3 weeks later or 2 weeks later, enough time later for it to be like, what? I get a text. After one date, I get a text that's like, okay, so clearly you're ghosting me. Got it. Could you tell me why? She said some other things too, which made it weird. But she said some other things too. I was like, all right. She basically was like, oh, that was a great date. Can you tell me, like, for future reference, like, why? Like, why are you ghosting me? If that was a great date? First of all, if someone's ghosting you, clearly it was not a great date. Clearly there was something that happened that was not the best. But also, this goes back to just what I was saying before of like, I don't know what a person wants. Like, I don't know what that person wants. And also, if someone ghosts you, If you feel you're being ghosted by somebody, why are you texting them again? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you trying to get out of that thing? And then also, if you really want a response, to somebody, and I've done this where on like an app or something, I'll be messaging someone back and forth, and then it'll die for whatever reason, and they won't respond to the last message. And then like a couple weeks later, I'll see the message thread. I'll be like, why did this die? And then I'll literally just say very politely, hey, I was having a great time talking to you. I just want to know, like, why did we stop talking? Or like, why did this end up not continuing? That's it. Hey, I was having a really nice time. Just wondering. I'm not, like, I try and make it as nice as possible. And in both those scenarios, when I've done that, the person responds. And one of the person responded was like, oh yeah, no problem. No, the way the conversation was going, it was nice, but like, I can just kind of tell that we're not gonna, be a thing. Or we're not gonna be in, like, we're not gonna like romantic, like we're not gonna be partner. It was like very presumptuous. It was like, we're not gonna be compatible in a relationship. And I was like, oh, well, I mean, we haven't even, how do you know? We'd never even met in real life. Lol. Or ha-ha, or whatever the fuck stupid thing that means laughing that I texted or messaged. And then she was like, yeah, but I could just tell immediately, like, it's a vibe, it's a thing. And then after that message, I was like, well, yeah, I don't like this person either. So I'll leave it at that. I was like, never mind, she's totally right. Like, we're not vibing now. So yeah, you're right. And then another person, I did that too. And then she's like, yeah, I don't know why this died. Like, let's keep talking. And then I was like, yeah, let's go on a date. What's your number? And we went on a date. Okay. So my point is, if you are going to text someone who ghosted you, or who you think ghosted you, or whatever the fuck, don't do it aggressively. Because it's just it's weird. Because also, why would you ever respond to an aggressive text? I never do it ever. If someone texts me aggressively, I wait till I see them in person, and then I go, hey, don't text me like that. I had a friend one time who I was watching a movie, or we would see movies together, and then she ended up texting me about a movie one day, and I didn't respond in a timely manner. It was like 2 hours after she texted, and she goes, hey, dick. That's what she texted, in all caps. Hey, dick. Didn't respond. Waited till I saw her again. I said, hey, why'd you text me this? She goes, oh, well, I just got like annoyed because, people don't text back, and then I get frustrated. I was like, all right, well, don't text me that though. Don't text me like that. Because that was rude, and I said this before, but I don't even text back. Like, I forget to text back people I love, like very close friends of mine. It's not a personal attack. It's just I forget. Maybe I should be better at that, but it's not an insult towards you. And even if you think it is an insult towards you, hey, dick is not the appropriate method of getting me to respond to you, Maybe have a conversation with me. Hey, could you text me back faster? I get like very anxious about it when people don't text me back right away. I'll be like, sure, I'll try and text you back faster. And I probably will, dude. But it's just like, it's that. It's like, don't do that. Anyway. But yeah, it's just weird, man. And then on top of that, I said that ghosting story earlier for me. I did not expect an explanation. I did not ask for an explanation. But if you are going to ask for one, do it politely. Do it politely. Also, I know what it is. When somebody does that, because I've answered that. I've answered the whatever that is from people. Or when you are in a relationship with somebody and then you break up and then they text you again, and it's always somebody trying to start something again. They don't actually want a reason for the ending. They just want a way back in. They just want a way to maybe have it keep going. I broke up with somebody one time, and as I was doing it, they were like, why? Can you give me specific reasons? And I was like, also, I don't understand why people want specific reasons. It's just, you just become an asshole. And also, the specific reasons why you don't like something don't have anything to do with the person. I've said this, I've already talked about this a million times on this fucking podcast. This just is the podcast, is me talking about the same fucking thing over and over again. But it's not the things that you specifically don't like about somebody are specific to your likes. You know what I'm saying? They're specific to what you like about somebody. You might have a deal breaker that somebody else loves. You know what I'm saying? Someone might be like, it's a deal breaker if a dude says dude, calls me a dude. And then somebody else will be like, oh, I love how he calls me dude. It's funny. It's cute. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, people have different preferences. And when somebody doesn't like you, it's because you do not fit their preferences. And there is nothing wrong with that. But also sometimes, I mean, I guess there sometimes are things you can correct about yourself. I guess there are certain specific things that could, I don't know. But what am I going to say to this person? I spent $300 on that date, and I financially cannot take you on $300 dates. Right? And also, it's text, so there's no way to say something nice. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, even if I try and text politely, like, oh, I just thought it was weird that you never tried to pay for anything. I can say that in a way that might sound okay, but I feel like any way you text that will make me sound like a bitter person who's like, why I fucking paid for everything. Which isn't how I feel, by the way. I don't feel like I fucking paid for everything. I just feel like, oh, like, what? All right. I feel like, oh, okay, well, you showed me that, like, you don't have my back. That's how I feel about that. When somebody doesn't attempt to pay. Also, I've been on dates where I spend a lot of money, but the person's like reaches for their card and they're like, oh, I'll pay. And then I'm like, are you sure? I'm like, no, I got it. And they're like, all right, you sure? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. Thank you. That's a totally fine exchange. You could go through a whole date not paying for anything, but if you are like, are you sure? I could do it. That's all the dude really wants, I think. All a guy really wants is to know that you would. Because then in their minds, they think in the future, you might. That's a tricky thing, though. Because also it can become rough if the person is like forcing you to. Like, I don't like when someone like forces their card. That's a little weird. I feel like if somebody takes out their card, the right thing to do is go, hey, man, I could pay too. And if they're like, nah, I got it, you can go, are you sure? And if they say yes, then you let them pay for it. You don't go, no, I'm going to pay for it. You don't make it a fight about who's going to pay for it. That's fucking irritating as well. That's irritating. It's a fight for no reason at all. You just... Because at that point, you want to pay for a weird reason. It's not because you want to pay. It's because or the reason why you don't want to let someone else pay for you is a weird thing. Because you gotta get it, you gotta have it covered, or you gotta be the one who pays, or you gotta have you're delving into a weird territory where it becomes about ego for some reason, and that's stupid as fuck. But I've been using an umbrella lately. I'm finally grown up, dude. This hurricane came through, and I guess what I'm saying about that dating stuff is just like, if somebody ghosts you, they don't like you, and that's okay. A lot of people aren't going to like you. It's better than someone wasting your fucking time, man. Dude, I've been fucking around with people for years that after years of it, you're like, I'm wasting my time with this person. I'm wasting my time with this person. And I don't know. I think if somebody ghosts you, you almost look at it as like a fucking sometimes I look at it as a fucking blessing. I'm like, well, if that person ghosted me, it means they didn't like me. It means they didn't want me in their life. So if they just kept me in because they weren't sure how to cut me off, I'd rather you just disappear than you to continue dragging me along in your life when you don't actually want me there. You know? That's weird. Or you're not sure if you do. I don't want that. That is a nightmare. I've been in that scenario where somebody is like, "Oh, I like him in my life." So they give you breadcrumbs and you hang out every once in a while and you're like, "Well, you want to hang out more?" And they're like, "Nah, I don't know." And then they disappear, they come back. It's awful. And it's much preferred to have somebody ghost you completely than to deliver you breadcrumbs. Breadcrumbs are the worst fucking thing a person can do to you. Because it just slowly eats away your time until you realize, like, damn, 6 years have gone by. What the fuck, dude? 6 years have gone by and I feel like I've made no real progress in our relationship at all. And we've not become something more, become something less. We're just this medium strange thing where it's like, are we going to do something? Are we not? What the fuck? What is happening? This is so irritating. And then your fucking, the warm feelings you had for that person have now become these weird, indifferent, do I feel that way about this person? Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know. Maybe what I'm saying is too cryptic. You'll meet a person, you're like, damn, I adore the fuck out of this person. And then enough time goes by where like nothing really happens, but you get close, but you don't. That then you're just like, I'm annoyed by this person. And that's a terrible feeling. To become annoyed at someone that you fucking adored. So you should ghost people. I'm an advocate for ghosting if that's the only way you can stop talking to somebody, you know? And also, I'm an advocate for ghosting after the first date. I think it's okay. I don't think anyone's a piece of shit for ghosting after one time seeing somebody. That one time might be a lot, but I don't know. Sometimes you have a one-night stand with somebody. People have had one-night stand, and sometimes, I don't know. Sometimes it's a mutual one-night stand. Sometimes you go on the one-night stand, and neither of you know it's going to be a one-night stand. But at the end of that night, you're like, well, I don't want to see this person again. But the night could have went a different way where you do want to see the person again. That's the thing, too, about dating in general, is that somebody said this to a friend of mine. They said to him, what are you looking for? And he goes, well, I'm looking for like something casual right now because of COVID and everything. And then she goes, oh, well, I'm looking for something casual that could turn into something like legitimate and long-term. So I feel like we're just on different pages. No, I feel like you're on the same page. He just didn't say the second part. I feel like I'm looking for something casual that can become a relationship. Hey, you just described dating, dude. Everyone who enters the dating arena is on that page. Even people who are like, I just want casual relationships. If they meet someone dope, suddenly they want a long-term thing. That's all of dating for all of time, forever. You want a casual thing with somebody who isn't that interesting. That's what you want. You want to be casual with somebody who you don't love. Do you know what I'm saying? And then the person who you're like, oh, I don't want to be casual with this person, it's because you really like them. That's dating. And so it's just frustrating and annoying that people, I don't know, people want to speed up a process that is innately slow going. And you just got to trust the process. I don't know. But I don't feel that way about the job market. I think the job market could be innately quick going, but it is slow going, and we need to fix that shit. But dating, I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe we could have more bar nights. More bars should exist where it's like, it's structured in a way where it's like, hey, come talk. I don't fucking know. Anyway, that's all the time I got. That's the end of the podcast. That's the end of the timer just went off. Anyway, when you're dating, be patient. You'll find the love of your life. You'll find them, dude. It's okay. And if you're looking for a job right now, I feel for you, man. And fucking hold on, dude. Hold on. Hold on. You'll be okay. This is rough as shit right now, but you'll fucking get through it. You will. You just got to keep going. Even though I know it's really fucking hard to. Anyway, that's it for the podcast this week. Thank you to the 7 people who are listening right now. You're fucking dope. You're a dope group of 7 people. Yeah, everyone who listened, thank you. I love you. You're the fucking best. I had a great time, as always. Yeah, I love you guys, and I'll see you next week.
Jake, you're an idiot. Jake, you don't make any sense. Jake, you're a piece of shit. A piece of shit.